Yeah, and welcome to another lesson. I'm Brett Papa, and today is one of my favorite bands of the 90s. I gotta admit, when I was a kid and like the grunge thing swept through, I was like, you guys suck. They killed the 80s, they killed Rat, they killed all these Van Halen's killer band. Well, Van Halen persevered. Why? Because he's the man. But anyways, I was bummed. But this band came out and like Alice in Chains, and I'm like, okay, like there's some good songwriting going on. So this band got a pass. Plus, he's got some freaking killer chords. Great songwriting, great use of chords, just awesome. Now, this is a combination of what I've seen him do live, and also make sure, download the isolated guitar track for this song. So put in Plush isolated guitar track, and you're gonna hear lots of stuff going on, and the difference between the live playing and then the album, you're gonna hear some differences, but they're both cool ways. So I'll show you a little bit of each. Now, don't forget, subscribe, like the video, click the bell over here to be notified when the new videos come out. And also, I'll tell you about this rig I'm using here and the sound I'm getting, but I'm also giving away this freaking killer pedal board later on in the week. So check that out. The sound is like, if I turn this off, I got a little bit of, got some gain going, right? And then another key is chorus. And I got some verb. There's like a big plate verb going on in the song. So the overdrive is an Imperial Overdrive by Exact Tone Solutions. Great pedal. It's kind of like a Nobles ODR1 that you been hearing about lately. And the line 6 M5 has something called a tri-chorus. Back in the day, he used a thing called an IntelliVerb, a Rocktron, which was killer. And it lets you stack up choruses together. So you get these big, fat choruses, kind of like a tri-chorus. And that's what I'm using in this particular instance. It's called a tri-chorus, and it basically lets you dial in 3 choruses together. If you guys want a really good, cheap, like Swiss Army knife for effects, the Line 6 M5 or M9s, they're pretty tough to beat. And like every session guy in town, like everyone, like Bukovac, Greenberg, Rob McNally, Tim Pierce, all these guys, they all have one of these things on their board because they're awesome. So just because they're cheap doesn't mean they're not killer. All right, so the chords, it starts off with a G chord. And just typical rock and roll G. And then what you're gonna do from there is you're going to be in the 3rd fret with 2 of your fingers, and it's gonna be on the G and the E. And then your 1st finger is gonna be on the 2nd fret. So you get this. And then the next chord, you keep this finger where it's at, and then you just spread these guys apart. So now you got a finger on B1, G2, E3. And then take all your fingers off. Okay, so. Now you walk up. Okay, pretty basic. The cool thing is, live, he does a cool climb up. He goes and bends into that note. It's really cool. Okay, and then the last chord is just a G chord, but you're only gonna have a finger on the G note of the E's, and then the rest are open. Well, block out this A string. Okay? So you got Okay, so for the verse, you're gonna do a G chord, your typical rock and roll G. And then bring this second finger down to make a D chord, and then you put an F sharp in the bass. Okay, the only thing you gotta watch out for is this A string. Don't hit the A string, mute it with this finger. Then to an F power chord, to a C chord. And then this is like if you're gonna make a G power chord. Okay, so bar the whole 3rd fret, and then I use my pinky to get the 6th fret A, and then the 5th fret of the D. I see people do this, and I've seen him do this too, but most of the time I think he has that finger off. And you'll hear that if you do that isolated track. So some of these will really like bump out at you when you hear just the guitar by itself. One guitar, there's multiple guitars going on. Okay, so there's that. Now, the trick is you start on the G normal, but then every chord after that comes in on an upstroke. So check this out. Okay, so, and then, okay, so that repeats that over and over. Now there's a kind of a pre-chorus, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna go from D and use your 1st and 3rd finger, and I'll show you why for a second for that D chord. Then you're gonna grab your 2nd finger and hit the C note, and the strings in play are the middle 4 from A to B, and then down to the 2nd fret with your 1st finger, back to C, and then goes. Okay, so. Now this part there's a lot of distortion and chorus going on, and it's kind of hard to hear exactly what notes he's hitting. So if you watch the live performances, you'll get there's kind of a pattern, but he mixes it up. And he's a great, I don't think people give him enough credit. He's a really, really awesome guitar player. So go watch like 3 or 4 live clips, because he does different versions. There's a version with, it's electric, but there's no band for half the song. And then there's, of course, the acoustic versions, which are always the easiest way how to do it. And then there's the full band the whole time. And in different eras, he plays the song a little bit differently. So go check him out. It's really cool. Okay, so if you check out the pattern, it's basically on the D, start off with the D string, and then go B to G. And then when you go to the C, okay, it's basically that. Now, the chorus is super easy. It's this chord. I don't know what that chord's called, by the way. And then to F. Okay, so it's. Okay, and then you go back into the first part. So it's basically same thing where you're coming in on the chord. Now, on the first time through, there's like a hiccup in the pattern. I think it's... All right, and there's like an upstroke in there, and it only happens once in the song that I can hear. I think on the isolated guitar track, it only does it one time too. But that's one of a couple of guitar tracks going on, so I don't know, just follow the bass and the drums and you can do it that way. And I think, like I'm saying, I think he only does it once and then keeps it simple, right? More of this kind of pattern the whole time through. So the second time through, on most every live performance I've seen, except for the acoustic shows, he bends that note. It's super cool sounding. And then go back to normal. Okay, and then on one of them, it doesn't go back into the verse, it just goes straight into the chorus. All right, so on the chorus part, there's two guitar parts. There is a hard power chord part, and then there's a super cool beatly line, which I think on the album he plays differently than he plays it live. Same notes, but I think he does it up here live, and I think it's because it's easier to play. But on the album, I hear like strings down here. So I think he might have played it down here. And if you hear the isolated guitar track, it really jumps out. Like everything disappears as far as the hard guitar, and then it just pops in there and you'll hear it. So choose your own adventure. It's the same notes. I'll show you this one way and then I'll try to figure it out up here maybe too, if we got time. So hard part is just G, F, and then it sounds like an E because there's an E in the bass, but it's not a typical E chord. It's basically, okay, so it's basically like a C chord, but you're playing E, A, and D strings. And then D, walk from D to D sharp, and then back to D. So it's All right, pretty cool. So the other part that comes in, and that's like through all the early years of them playing live, almost always he plays that part like that, right? Just the power chord part. As they progressed as a band and got better and better and better, he does do this next part coming up. He'll do half the power chord way and half the melody line, and you know, whatever. So he plays the melody line up here, although on the album it sounds like he's doing it in this position, okay? So it's kind of trippy. This first chord looks like an A, and then you're gonna have your pinky on the 5th fret of the D. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna hit that note first, and then you're gonna hammer from 2 to 4 on the G. And then you're gonna hit the 3rd fret of the B string. So you got, okay, and then you come back to the D string and hit it twice. Now, from there, you're just gonna take your pinky off and you're gonna scoot this finger up. So you got D3, G4, B3. And then you cut it off. So it's, okay, now this next part is why I think it's played down in this position, because of the notes. It sounds like it's right here. Okay, so what you can do there is I come in on an upstroke, and it sounds like he's basically like, imagine an F chord without your 2nd finger on it. So you take that off, and then imagine it also with this G note on the highest string, right? And so you hit the chord, you hammer on, and then, right, but it goes, and then it comes down into an A minor looking shape, but just with 2 fingers, you're gonna have the open G next. So all together, it's gonna be, and then it goes down to here. Okay, so that goes. Okay, so it's, and then, okay, so this one, 1st fret, okay, and you're gonna have an open G, so it's D1, open G, B1, and he hammers it on. And then goes back to that 1st fret. Okay, so it's, okay, next pattern, it's similar, but now you're gonna just have your pinky on the 5th fret, and you're gonna go, okay, so what you do is you go D5, and then on that G, it starts off on 2, but you slide right into 3. So imagine you're playing the top half of a G minor chord. Right? And then this second one, I don't think he has this pinky down. I think it's more of a, I think it does that. So if you put the 2 together, I'll do it really slow. And then, I missed that slide, hold on. And then, and then back to. Okay, and it does that pattern twice, and then back into. And I think after that bridge part, it just goes back into the chorus. All right, so don't forget, lots of distortion. Use your volume knob when you go into the verse part. So like, and then roll it back. And then when you go into the pre-chorus, roll it up a little bit. All the way. Roll down. It's an easy way. Then you got a tap dance. There's always chorus on. There's always verb on. The only variance in the song, he switches pickups, but if you really want to keep it bare bones, just roll your guitar's volume down in the verse part and then up for the intro and the chorus parts, and you got this. All right, make sure to pay attention for this week coming up. I'm giving a fully pro pedal board I built with Exact Tone Solutions. It's freaking killer, wicked boutique, awesome board built by the guys who build all the boards for all the touring and session guys here in Nashville. Awesome, awesome stuff. Look for that. Also make sure to subscribe, click the bell to be notified when the new videos come out. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you guys have song requests, especially in this era, it's a great song writing era. Songs like, Stone Temple Pilots, Alice in Chains, all that stuff. Love those bands. So hit the comment section down below with songs you'd like to see. And thank you so much for your continued support. I'll catch you next time.